Okay, I'm live. Very slightly later than scheduled. But here I am. Oh, I was just going to have a Mountain Dew. My God, it still doesn't show green. Like, again, Mountain Dew bottle. This is bright green. And, yeah, look, that just looks like dirty water. That is so weird. I would like someone with a science mind to explain. And I know it's the light balance, but like the reds look okay. Like the skin tone's okay. It just won't show green, which I find really, really weird. What other colors are around me? Blue. The lid of this is blue. See? Blue. That's fine. That's blue. And reds are fine. Green is not. It is just very strange. Hello, Fox of Hate and Luke. How you going? That's Aidsy telling me he's trying to get going, get connected, which is good. Good evening to you, Miss Foxification. Yeah, that's it. It was dark and stormy, and it's cleared up. It's a bit lighter than it was like an hour ago, in fact. Hey, Justin, how you doing? So, see, this is like, you know what color Mountain Dew is? Sort of that yellowy green, and that's like a brownie orange. It's so strange. Justin, it'd take a long time for a storm that's here to reach Canberra. That's probably a different storm. Well, I think I see an Aidsy. Wait a sec. Flickering, waving hands. Are you okay there, Bertie? Yes? He's here. Look at that.
I say greetings to you, and I note that I'm only 6 minutes late, meaning that I'm fairly white.
Yeah, doing good. Doing a fine and dandy job this evening, good sir.
Well, yes. I'd say so. Except my aggression and racism is right up today.
Yeah.
I'm looking over at the live stream. Miss Foxification, Fox of Fate, Justin Unwood, Luke Morfitt, and I'm going hello to those people, and I'm going, some spirit has put a calling on my heart to look at you and go, you're not saved, you're going to burn in Gehenna, the garbage pit in the middle of Jerusalem, and smells like poo on fire. That's where you're going to go.
Yeah. Also, say hello to Heist and Lion Spider, who just entered the chat, as the saying goes.
Hi, Heist and Lion Spider. I've had a Damascus epiphany. Don't go there or you'll get shot.
That's probably a fair call about Damascus today, actually.
What was in news, was there?
No, I just imagine Syria generally is
there's a 5-way war going on.
Yeah.
Not awkward. Fuck. It's like, okay, like in Afghanistan, the Americans thought, oh yeah, we're going to fight all the way to the border. It's going to be fine. And then they discovered that they were into an intra-tribal warfare where the people that they made alliances with were telling porkies so that the other tribes would get the shitter bombed out of them. And then it'd come back the other way. And they realised the amount of Taliban they were fucking blowing up was minuscule as compared to the tribal warfare they were fighting on behalf of their fucking allies who were mostly stoned. Which made a real problem. The Australians and the Dutch and the Japanese and some of the Americans went, you're not coming on patrol. Even though the idea was we're handing over the whole thing to you and, you know, it's hands across the breaches and, you know, we've trained them and now they're good at it. They're not good at it and they might shoot us. Fuck no, they're staying home, we're going out. And that caused a ruckus. But they didn't get shot so much accidentally like our American brothers who got shot
Yeah.
a lot accidentally because the guys that went out with them were fucking stoned. There was one guy who used to like to shoot off his rifle so that it was hot enough to light a cigarette off. So they'd be sneaking around, and then bang, 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 bang. And then they'd see this guy, and like they're all looking at him going, the fuck? And then all of a sudden bullets would be coming toward him and he'd be going, what?
Yeah.
And yeah, what a fuck up. So in the spirit of that, I say, what for you here on chat? You are a fuck. I care on your that one, and the angry. He poofed a big one and what? Can't poof the fat. Hello.
That's all true. And hi, Peter, by the way, who's also
Hi,
coming
Peter.
in.
How you going?
Yeah. So I did notice when we're talking about Syria being bad, Luke seems to be suggesting Frankston is the Syria of Victoria. And, you know, just
It's
that's
pretty much
more likely to get stabbed.
it's pretty much Broady on Sea.
Yes.
And I've wondered for a long time whether we shouldn't have a friendly competition with organised events between Franger and Broadster, and have events like the 100-metre mug, the stab round corner, the stab face to face, and the stab from rear. I also think the under trainway pass intimidate would be a good event. And then just tell out the scores. And at the end of it, congratulate the winners and shoot fucking everybody. What do you reckon? As a
as a resolution, I'm kind of on board with that. But yeah, it's time, you know, reach out to the kids. So as soon as you bring up Broadmeadows, I was thinking like, because the current absolute hysterical lie that conservatives and racists like to push in about Melbourne is out of control African crime gang, and crimes happen, and some crimes are perpetrated by folk of African extraction, but the absolute lies that people in Melbourne are scared to go out and every African's a criminal. I'm old enough to remember when white kids were the scapegoat. Mount Druitt in Sydney, there was absolute lies and beat-ups from the media about, you know, brawls with hundreds of kids. The most notorious one is basically two blokes, right, you, me, down the park after school. Shit that would happen everywhere. But someone told everyone, and it was apparently it was going to be a decent fight. So half the fucking school was going down to spectate. And someone, possibly a kid, possibly a resident who was traumatized by seeing so many young people being rowdy, called the cops and said there was a riot. And then news helicopters came over and they got all this dramatic footage of hundreds of kids in this park. But the kids were just kind of waving to the helicopter and they're just, look at this bloody out of control riot with these young people. And that was, well, you know, white kids, Mediterranean kids, I guess, also around Mount Druitt, first, second generation kids whose parents had come from Italy, Greece, Lebanon, maybe.
Those places where you go for a holiday and you see lovely stuff and you eat great food, but there's so many migrants around that it's really upsetting.
Yes. Yeah. So it cracks. Well, it doesn't crack me up. It repulses me when people go, "Is the African gang out of control? There's never been anything like it." And going, except when you said the same thing about Vietnamese gangs a couple of decades ago.
Gangs,
still migrants, still immigrants,
Italian gangs and Greek gangs. And who were after Vietnamese? Just one between them, the Muzzos and the Vietnamese. Who were they?
Oh God, I don't know.
I don't know. But every time there's a wave of refos or folk that don't look like us, they are vilified, and they are basically the reason why they're taking all our jobs. And yet the jobs they get are ones that the white kids won't do. You clean an office at fucking 3 o'clock in the morning and see just $4 or $5 an hour and see just how much you like it. And yeah, strangely, the white kids who are worried about their jobs being taken off them won't do that job.
No.
Same white kids won't join the army or the police. I didn't. Oh, that wasn't an Austin Powers, which is more.
Yeah, that was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh,
Talk to me,
Lion
Angry.
Spider and Peter both called out. If we're trying to guess which group was vilified between of those, it was probably Lebanese.
Well, Lebanese keep on getting vilified because they were a special case. They got
You're a
brought
special case, talking with that bloody mouthful of food. Honestly, you're an animal.
Well, yes, but I had to jump in. I was gonna just let it go, but I had to jump in. The Lebanese were a special case because they were brought in a big hurry with a lot less scrutiny. Then when they got here, because there were a lot of them all at once, they didn't get the kinds of societal practice that all the other groups got. They didn't get proper language. They didn't get proper socialization. They didn't get proper support, really, and they got very resentful of their treatment because they were disruptive socially. Socially was disruptive to them because this is Sydney, right?
Yes.
Where politeness is where they spit on you and punch you. And essentially they didn't fit in, and Sydney wouldn't let them fit in. And so you had a situation where they weren't socialised very quickly, and forever since they turned up, that they bump every now and again. They bump into the larger society of Sydney, because Sydney really puts them in a box. Every time. Sydney complains that there's no-go areas, essentially because of Lebos. They made those no-go areas because they turned the Lebos into who they are. And so, the Lebos continually make difficulty. They're a great case study on how to fuck up immigration into this country. And we should be concentrating very hard on language, on culture, and on inclusive job skills. Right. Language, obviously, so, everyone can be understood. There is nothing worse than having someone who looks weird saying something you can't understand, because that breeds paranoia in Sydney like crazy. Secondly, culture, so that they will fit in neatly with what is going on around town. But at the same time, the Westies have got to be told, what is your fucking culture? You're worried that these people are coming in and taking and bothering your XYZ. Well, what is your fucking XYZ? You can't just look at them and move the goalposts around every day. No. That's not fair go. That's bullshit. So make barbecues happen, get them around, show them who you are. Fucking go to the local bushfire centre, drag Umba Bozo, and Ahmed along and say, fucking, you're in, boys. Fucking, here's training, because there's nothing that'll breed camaraderie like holding a hose in a bushfire.
Well, there is that.
Fucking,
Yes.
it's a bit awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, you are one of the boys forever.
Yeah.
Get the local cricket team to go around and find those qualified and go, turn up on Sunday in your whites. Bloody, be enculturating to the folks who turn up, so that they become very quickly absorbed into, this is who we are, this is what we are, this is what we expect. Because they're not given expectations. They're just given a, here you go, off you go. Everyone in Australia thinks they're given a house, which is not a real thing.
No,
they've got to pay rent for this given house. And this given house is rent that they don't have. Because remember, when they turn up, they're not getting the dole. They're not getting the dole for a lot of years.
Yes, there's a couple of years before they're allowed to claim. Yeah.
So
I also just want to throw in a hello to Noog and clapping for chlamydia. There you go.
Well, I've clapped for chlamydia a few times, so hello, clapping for chlamydia.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't, and people say, oh, they get the public housing before everyone else, and I've gone, good, because I don't want a whole bunch of immigrants in a park getting increasingly fucking angry with no money and no language, and coming from a place where the way you solve your differences is with an AK.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want that to be happening. I want them in a house going, okay, this is different. I've got a roof over my head and food in my belly and security around me with a door. Bloody there's all kinds of reasons why I shouldn't be in public housing before these immigrants from war-torn places especially. Now, I'm going to give you an example.
Give me an example.
One of the things about black African Muslim girls is that they'll rock up to anywhere and they'll smell badly of BO, like badly of BO. And how do you...
Making it incredibly broad and unsubstantiated generalizations.
No, I've been around many.
I'm just throwing out there that there's a lot of people are gonna say get fucked. But continue on.
Well, there's reasons behind this. This is a reason thing, right? Remember that where a lot of these folks come from, especially South Sudan, especially that sort of East Africa fringe that's around the Sahara, water is quite precious. Water is quite rare. You don't fucking use water to put on your body to fucking wash invisible germs off. You drink it. And to come into a place where there's water, which is great, it's on tap, but shit, you don't fuck around. You don't waste it on, showering. You've got to show folks that, no, you're expected to shower every day. You're expected to wash every day. And not only is there a surfeit of water to do so, it makes it possible to live in Australia because of particular antibodies and diseases that we've got here. So you should be washing for your own health and for the health around you. And so, it's stuff like that. They're not shown that. They're not told that. They're not brought into that. They're just given shit because they smell. Well, fuck off. Also
going to change the subject because I don't think this
do is it. Go crazy.
Although you did remind me there's a meme from a couple of years ago, one of those images that people put different captions to, and there's a photo of a little African boy with a white, assuming it's a missionary, and the kid's just being captured in what looks like a really suspicious look at the missionary, And I think the generic name for it is like, suspicious African kid or whatever. And you come up with a caption that explains why this kid is looking so dubiously at the missionary. And my personal favorite was the caption with the kid saying, "So you're telling me you have so much clean water, you deliberately shit in it."
That's nice. I
Yeah,
like that.
and again, it was a pretty good one about bridging a cultural chasm.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Well,
you have so much. Yeah, go on.
sorry, I was thinking of trying tonight, record another thing for L podcast, but almost do the opposite of what we normally do. Like I normally say, not going to engage with the chat while we're doing it. But I think actually just have our roaring, steaming, hot, totally unprepared hot takes on news of the day. Just get people in the chat to bring up things that they want to hear us have an extreme opinion on. And
I like it.
we roll with it. See how we go.
I'm in for it. I'm going for it.
All right.
I'm
Well,
going to be eating Bickies the whole way, though. So understand that's a thing. And I reckon that our folk in the live chat should, I reckon they should be the focus because they horn me up. They bar me up. They make me like the rhino, which means I get two dicks when I'm talking to them. But not only all that, I say to you, I'll see you later, boss of the house. And I can make it so that if I do that, you can give me a kiss on the head. See? Look at this. Look at this, boss of the house. If I do that, you can give me a kiss on the head. See? So you should do that, is what I'm saying. This is important. I'm burning time.
Absolutely.
This is very important because if I don't get a kiss on the head, I'm gonna crash tackle boss of the house because it's sensation of the nation. It's what all the kids want. It's what all the kids think is great. And are you not going to kiss me on the head? Are you not going to kiss me on the head? There might be a period of time when I'm off camera.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We can cover for each other.
Are you going to kiss me on the head? I need a yes or no answer. Okay, that's it. Can you take me out just for a second while I commit violence?
All right. Oh, it's always good. And I like some of the things talking about. Of course, China is a big one, and the whole coronavirus. Oh, St. Kevin's. See, this is a fun thing. People might bring up stuff that we don't actually know. I actually only read about the St. Kevin's story today, and it's pretty goddamn fucked up. For those who don't know, St. Kevin's is a Catholic school in Australia, and they're in the shit at the moment because there was one of the students came forward saying he was being groomed by a guy who works. It's not a teacher, not an employee of the school, but a community member who volunteered his time to help with the sports teams. And we now seem to have the answer as to why he did that, because he wanted to groom a young boy. So the school fucked it up completely. They seem to have not supported the boy at all. And in fact, when the guy went away, the teacher and the principal, and I think the head of the sports department, gave this fucking pedophile glowing personal references that he could use, which people are a bit sort of fucked up. Hey, Frank, how's it going? Popping in from the bog at work. There you go. AIDS is off camera. So, Frank, I will have to ask him if I remembered to tell him about the cum-squirting dildo gun his Pink Texas Rangers characters carries. I'm sure that's a thing he will applaud and be a fan of, but I don't know if I told him. This camera, my new-ish camera, I've only had it for a week or so. I used it for a few live streams. It's much better than the webcam I was using in the other things. And it seems to behave differently in each live stream, and I don't understand it. Like, it seems really dim at the moment. If I actually turn the little ring light on, what does that do? You see, that's actually made me look a bit healthier, I think. Other nights, that was too washed out. A little bit dimmer. There we go. How's that? How's that? How's that? See, that's probably too bright. Yeah, that's too bright. And go round about. Yeah, that's kind of working tonight. Okay. What the heck? Yeah, don't wear green. What's my new camera? It's a, what is it? Razer Keo. For gamers, by gamers. A bit hype in there, fucking documentation. This is just how to switch it on. The box had some fairly... Oh, downloading apps for the Razer Keo. Camera third-party apps compatible. Enable your camera's various features. Okay. Razer's own Razer Keo. Maybe I should look at that. Oh, I was there. AZ's waving at me. He's back. Guess who's back? Back again. Oh, his microphone's off. Tell a friend. He's back. He's back.
He's so back. I must have muted my own microphone. Oh, I did, as I was going to go and commit violence, and boss of the house got out of the house before I could get him. Okay. So what I did was ate and sorted out several drug possibilities. So later I'm going to have to go and urinate, is what I'm saying. I'm warning everyone. That this is going to happen. What I want to see is you and I, Angry. Yes. We've done this before. We've warmed up. We've touched ponies. We've caught monkeys only to lick them, thinking we might get viri to give to the Chinese because we're callous. Anyway, so that warms us up for a live stream. And tonight, when we podcast, we are taking with us the good folks that have entered the space, the room, the studio, StreamYard, the Touch Me. And so I want to think that we should warm up our people that are coming in with us. So I want to see a hands in the air like you just don't care.
Right. Peter and everyone... Frank. Okay. Oh, wait a sec. I have to tell you something really quickly because Frank is in the bog at work and he's got to go. But Frank who's done animations for my YouTube channel, is also developing a video game that we're characters in. And did I ever tell you, Adzi, that your character is Pink Texas Ranger who has cum-squirting dildo guns?
Booyah!
You'd like it.
Be aware, people trying to cross the border. There is no hope for you.
Yeah.
Except that your packages are coming with me.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, right. Come shooting dildo guns. Anyway, so I want all the people in the hands in the air like you just don't care, and I want a hey yo from everyone. Okay, so hands in the air, hey yo, yours.
Okay, it could take 20 seconds before we see anything. There's often that big a gap between us.
I'm cool with it. Yeah. I'm just like, I want to see everyone warm up. You know, I want to see them. You know, are they onto it?
There you go.
Okay. We've got to heist. Hey yo, catch you later, buds. Thanks, Frank. Have a good one, man. Hey
and
yo,
Squirrel Comedy saying hi to you, Adrian. That's very formal.
Hi, Squirrel. Yeah. Hey, Squirrel. When is this game available? Hey yo,
When Frank
hey
finishes.
yo.
Okay, everyone's awake. So
Everyone's warmed up. Everyone is
we'll
warmed up.
start the live.
Legends of the Fall.
Yeah.
Winter is
All right.
coming. They are holding the wall. Oh, you guys rule. Thank you so much for that.
All right. So we're going to start live stream now. Do a little pause, and we are thoroughly engaging you folk on the live stream. We are gonna run with any topic you give us and give extreme opinions on it. So we'll do a couple seconds silence, and I'll do the intro, and we're off and running. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the Angry Aussie podcast. I have the one and only Aidsy with me. Good day to you, sir.
Good day to you, Angry, and good day to the good folks who've joined us. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for letting us be on your device. And thank you very much for making me think about touching myself and Angry. Angry is very sexy. I'm in a different place to Angry because he makes me. And also he puts me in a cage at night and pushes meat through the bars to feed me. That's how esteemed I am in this organisation. Sometimes I get pieces of gravel when I haven't done well, but mostly it's meat pushed through the bars. Ladies and gentlemen, go on.
I would say a good 50% of the meat is fresh as well. So that, you know, maggots only in half of it is what I'm saying.
Oh no, they're protein. No, I was going to say 10% proper fresh. But 30% fresh. The rest is definitely on the turn, and 15's green.
But
but I'm not ungrateful. I'm not ungrateful. No. I see some of the other performers getting packets full of air.
Yes.
I give you air. So anyway, I am stunned and mind blown to find out that Angry, in his wisdom, has decided that the way we're going to do it tonight is we're going to answer, talk about, react to, and touch any comment that the folks in the live chat are going to throw out to us. It's genius, and took Angry to come up with it. Angry, talk us through it, mate.
Well, yeah. So if you are listening to this, if we're safely ensconced in your ear holes through the magic of podcasting, this is being recorded live, as they usually are, and we are going to get some suggestions on what we should do really hot takes on from our friends in the live chat. If you're watching this back later on YouTube, you will see the live chat go scrolling past, and you'll know what we're talking about. But if we are on a purely oral medium with you, just so you know, people are telling us what to do, and we threw this out there, and there are a few key things that people were interested in. Now, this one, AZ, I don't know if you know this story. A school in Australia called St. Kevin's. Does that mean anything to you? Have you seen any stories about a Catholic school called St. Kevin's?
I saw a little bit of something on the iView about I think it was called Boys Club, and it was things that were hidden inside a Catholic boys' school. I have no experience of this, having gone to a Catholic boys' school where things may or may not have been covered up. And some things may have been squirted out like the homosexual boil that they are.
Yes.
Being the students, not the priests.
Yep.
So yes, I haven't seen anything about St. Kevin's. I've lived it, but I haven't seen anything
Catholic
about
schoolboys, in fact.
it.
AZ in Canberra and me in the fine country town of Dubbo, we both got our schooling in the Catholic style. So we know which. Yeah, it was. I don't remember if it was Four Corners or Australian Story. The ABC did a little bit of an expose, but the gist of it is actually contained just in this headline. And again, people familiar with such institutions are not going to be hugely surprised at the headline: Principal of St. Kevin's regrets writing reference for convicted child sex offender. So...
Yep,
Yikes.
regrets writing reference. I mean, it says it all in that line, doesn't it?
Yep.
Regrets writing
It's in
reference.
quotation marks. Like the ABC says, sure, we believe you. You regret.
You
Okay.
regret.
Yeah.
You got fucking caught trying to move him on.
Mm,
And so he writes a glowing reference going, get
mm,
him the fuck out of here. Because they all do that. And
mm.
you can see all these ped priests get out a sheaf of glowing references when they get
Yep.
tried. And then you get the principals in and they're like fucking dragged in there and going, oh, here we go. And
Yep.
literally 60% of them break down and say, I was pressured to just do it and get rid
Yep.
of him.
Yep.
What I think is funny, though,
Yeah.
I have never spoken about this because it's just never come around,
Yeah.
was I, being the fag,
Yeah.
was sometimes I was actually respected a lot for being brave, actually. But
So letting
sometimes
people
I was
know.
beaten up
Yeah.
for being a fag.
Mm,
And it was quite the dichotomy. And the
mm.
staff were quite in and not, they were binary. Frankly, they were binary. No, there was a few that were quite reasonable, but they didn't want anything to do with "Don't touch me,"
Yeah.
which that's fair enough. But there were, it's the same split down as the priests. Some of these priests were gay as, some of these priests were straight as, and some of these priests were pedophiles. Some of the residents would cover it up because they were so ashamed of having this
Yeah.
in their midst, right? But you always found that the gay priests were quite angry about the pedophiles. And I can tell you to this day, gays are
Mm.
furious about pedophiles. Pedophiles make gay living difficult because every fucking moron out there who's ready to punch on and go the nuck equates being gay with being a ped every fucking time. Okay.
Yeah.
And so as a result, you've got to be really ready to explain that not all gays are peds. Some peds are gay, and in fact, 90% of peds are straight. So there's all this shit, and hard to explain that when they're going the nuck. So priests hate fucking peds just as much as gays hate fucking peds.
Yeah.
And I was there in the priest's house talking some of the priests because I just got fucking in trouble for beating off 3 guys, and I fucking hurt 2 of them, like
Mm.
really hurt 2 of them. One of them had to go away in an ambulance, and we were discussing the history of what happened during that fracas and how that history would be official and always be that way. Yeah, politics of Catholicism. And then one of them said, we've been looking at that guy for a while because he likes playing with little kids and we're a bit concerned.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And then
Yep.
one of them laughed and said, oh, we don't have to be that concerned. We can get the boys together. And 3 more of them laughed.
Yeah.
And 2 of them looked across and said, should we talk about that now, boys? And they all shut up. Anyway, about 18 months later, the one that I was really friendly with, and I said, what the fuck was that? And he
Yeah.
said, look, you're about to go anyway. He said, there's a group of about 6 or 8 of these guys, and when they find out one of the boys is a pedophile, they suggest that he moves on voluntarily because they kick the fuck out of him every night.
Yeah.
Every night they basically burst into his house, into his room, trash it, and fucking beat him up. So
Yeah.
I mean, 2-3 weeks of this, you're signing
Yeah.
the papers. Get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And the way these guys have had the treatment, and apparently this is national. It's an Australian thing, but it's national.
Right.
These guys have had the treatment is if you look at their little finger, it's been broken many times because part of the bashing ritual is they get their little finger and snap. So
Okay. Okay.
every time,
Oh, good
and
lord.
you want to fuck little kids, snap. It might
Yeah.
hurt. So think
You,
about the hurt that you're
yeah,
putting on other people, and we'll put the hurt on you. Have a good night.
yes. You come up
And
with some very odd pieces of trivia. Yeah, I guess beyond the headline, which tells you almost everything, again, one paragraph of this ABC story. St. Kevin's College in Melbourne has gone into damage control after a Four Corners investigation revealed its headmaster and dean of sport provided references for now convicted child sex offender Peter Kehoe, but did not support the victim during the court process. And everyone's come out and said there's a whole culture of cover up and not taking action in that school.
very, very, very common. Very fucking common.
Mm.
I have fucking supported more fucking victims of sexual assault in my fucking high school than that fucking high school did. We
Yeah.
had a groundskeeper who was a fucking trained counsellor,
Yeah.
and he and I did more fucking support for gay students and for students who had been raped or beaten up by empowered people than any of those fuckers over at the officialdom. One of the official counsellors would turn. He was there when I was supposed to turn up to the gardening shed, basically talking over him with a fucking folder, a manila folder, a dossier.
Yes.
And he was
Yes.
basically giving him in the gen. He was basically giving him
Yeah.
the mail on what was going on. And
Yeah.
he said, "Oh, hello, AG. Have a good day. Bye." And bailed. And
Yeah.
what it was he wasn't allowed to touch it.
Mm.
But he was basically trying to do anything he could, but he wasn't allowed to fucking touch it. And we were both talking about this later and going, yeah, this is vomitous. And I said, this school's fucked. He said, it's not just here, man. Doesn't matter where
Yeah.
you go. It's
That's
fucking
true.
everywhere.
Oh,
And I went, oh, well, I'll go to the Anglican system. And he laughed his ass out. And he said, they've got more money and more fucking lawyers and more sponsors than we could ever hope to have. What do you reckon's going on there, son?
Yeah.
And then, of course, they turned everything around and said, gay's okay. And just overnight.
Yeah.
Catholics, overnight.
Well,
So please, talk to me.
I'm going to throw in our friend Lion Spider of Crow has thrown in. He had a teacher who was violent with boys. And that's another common problem. Even the ones who weren't sexual in a lot of the Catholic schools were violent. And he says sometimes after seeing this teacher's level of violence, they made him school principal so he wasn't in the classroom. And that's clearly an appropriate action to take. It's like,
and again, common. Promote them. Yeah. Happened all the fucking time. All the fucking time. They'd give it a bit of, we don't like what he's doing. Put him up a notch and he won't be able to do that anymore. And again, they fucking become the principal and the whole fucking culture becomes toxic as fuck.
Of course. Yes.
We had, we had 3 principals when I was at my school. And we had, actually, no, we had 4. We had 1, then the second one, then the first one came back, and then we had the last one. And the first one was nasty. The second one was evil. He was fucking evil, and the whole place just went downhill. The fucking staff had fucking dark rims under their eyes. They clearly hated being there. If you fucking looked sideways in class, you had to be prepared to get reamed up the arse. They were very angry people. And then number 1 came back. I think they fired number 2 because he was shit. Now
number 2 was shit. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. All their grades were coming down, so they gave him the flick. And it was for health reasons every time. And then number 1 basically bailed out, and technically number 4 came in and took it out for the rest of the time. He had to rebuild the school into something, get rid of the toxicity. Then he had
Yeah.
to build upon that into a sense of spirit, and then he had to build a sense of excellence. Did that in 18 fucking months. That is record time. He was the kind of guy that when he spoke to you, had to fucking gear down his mind two notches, basically so that you could understand the fucking words coming out of his head. He had to bring himself down, and he was never condescending about it.
Yeah.
He was always fucking supportive and glowing. If you had a win, he would be excited and happy for you.
Yeah, for sure.
If you had a loss, he'd go, "Oh, we can beat this.
Yeah.
We can cut over this." And it wasn't you can; it was we can take your burden on.
Yeah.
If you had a win, it was you were brilliant. Very subtle little things, but he
Yeah.
was that guy.
Yeah.
He was the guy who introduced me to the concept of the Matrix.
Alright.
So yeah, they'd move
Yeah.
these fuckers around, and I saw many, many times people getting promoted up the chain so that they could toxify anything below it, and it was just shocking. At one point, they tried to make the shop guys wear ties, and the shop guys wouldn't wear ties. And when you all
Yeah.
got to wear ties, and it's like we work around spinning high-powered tools. That's
Yeah.
basically what we do. You get a
Yes, that's
tie
true.
caught in that, you've got a face ripped off by machinery. We refuse to let the boys wear ties. We refuse to let them wear collared shirts. We give them leather necked smocks to wear,
Right.
which they must. So we're not wearing ties around death machines. You can fuck off. This fucking principle has tried it on with, well, if you don't, you get fired. And just so happens, health and safety from the Catholic Education Office turned up. Just so happened, for a random visit while all this was going on, and they said, "Well, that's unusual because we don't allow ties in workshops." And stick it up to principal, but it had to be stuff like this. This guy was consistently being brown nosed by losers who would get promoted and then fuck up departments royally. One of these guys set year 9 the task of, we want you to calculate pi to a place that your calculators can't reach, but that the boys can rattle off over 4 or 5 pages. So they can memorize pi to 4 or 5 pages.
Okay.
And the teachers were going, pi to 10 places and then rounded is more precise than human tools can make. And pi to 11 places is more precise than atoms can make. Atoms cannot be less bumpy than pi to 11 places. So if you're doing pi to 10, you're going far beyond what humans can calculate. This is the most pointless waste of time in the world. Doing pi to 3 or 4 pages. And so they basically went, what are we going to do? The maths crew and the English crew came in and said, well, we're going to be in this too. And the science crew came in and said, well, we're going to be in this too. So did history, so did geography. Everyone came in and said, the Pi project is on. And all this year 10, all year 10 did for, it was going to be 6 months, was the Pi project. Nothing else was going to get done. Nothing else. And it was all from their different angles, the history of pi, the
Yes.
fucking the science of pi, all that, but
Yeah.
nothing else was going to get done. And so yeah, he had to yield after, I think it was 3 months. It was over, and everyone went back to work. But there were the point of that is there was institutions within
Yes.
that school that were going, yes, the principal has spoken, and he's a genius because he promoted me from out of the shit because I'm a brown nosing turd who knows nothing.
Yeah.
And it was just a farce. The whole thing was a farce. Eventually, the good principal came in and weeded these fuckers out and got rid of everyone who was a turd. And the way he did it was interesting. He'd basically look at everyone's work and say, you're shit. You're fired.
Yeah.
Clear out your desk. And that was it. He'd just wander in the staff room and go, yeah, you're terrible. Get out.
Yeah.
It was like, right. And all the staff went, okay, I am going to be very careful about my work standards. What else have you noticed?
Well, I thought we would move on to another topic. Of course, a big topic that's occupying people from all around the world is the coronavirus and what it might end up being. Still centered on China, with over 1,000 deaths. Although the Chinese authorities, and I'm not sure I completely trust them, the Chinese authorities are saying they're getting fewer deaths and fewer new cases per day. Their worst day, over 100 people died on one day that they reported. I think the reason Japan popped into my head is because there are those poor souls trapped on a cruise ship which had an outbreak of the virus on it. And so Japan just went, no, fuck you, you're not coming into port. And they've just been sitting there for, I don't know, like a week now, and hundreds of people on the boat have tested positive. Apparently, the Australian government now has a plan to actually repatriate. There's like 200 Australians on this boat. Like, it's one of the really big ones that has, thousands of people on it. The 200 Australians on it, they've got a plan to get the Australians back home. But what has interested me has been because we were talking recently about conspiracy theories, and lo and behold, there are no shortage of conspiracy theories about coronavirus. And the stupid one that quite reasonable people have been entertaining, which disturbs the hell out of me, is, this was actually cooked up in a secret Chinese government lab. They were going to use it as a bioweapon and it got out. And it's like, oh, shut the fuck up. Honestly, why do people have to come up with shit like that?
Isn't it a bit shit as a bioweapon if you've got to wait a month for it to work? Here's my weapon. Just, can you hang on for a bit? Just hang there. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Fuck,
It's ridiculous.
that'll fuck it up.
We have diseases in labs that are 100 times more horrible than fucking coronavirus. It's the worst thing about it, and the thing that's worrying the World Health Organization and everyone else is it's really easy to catch because no one has any resistance to it. Plus side is the comparatively low death rate. There's the thing, like SARS, which everyone freaked out about, had about a 10% death rate, which is super bad, but it was more difficult to actually catch. The coronavirus has already killed more people. Well, actually, no, it reached 1,000 deaths like in a couple of weeks, something that took SARS about 6 months to reach, I think. So coronavirus is spreading more quickly and almost no one has resistance to it. It's fortunately exhibiting a less than 2% fatality rate so far.
It is thought that the coronavirus's spread is a little nasty in the sense, in the common cold, right? The spread of it and the contagion of it is the first sneezes and the first coughs. That's the most contagious you are.
Yeah.
And they're not actually very violent. They're actually a bit chew, right? They're not actually very full on. And they think this is speculation. This is not real. This is speculation. They think that possibly the coronavirus is starting to spread on wheezing and sort of snotty nose little sneezes in a aerosol environment, because that's how a lot of these common colds and viruses are spread. But usually you've got to aerosol a bit more heavily. But they're
Yeah.
saying the coronavirus is spread very, very small aerosol, and so bang, you get hit up really quick.
Yeah.
Viruses are so tiny,
Yes.
just very, very difficult to mask against them.
Yep.
The only thing you can really do is inoculate against them,
Yes.
which is why the Australian labs have thrown out all their projects and are
Yeah.
starting to get on to manufacturing whatever formula comes out of the CDC.
Yes.
So yes, the coronavirus rumors are shocking.
Yes.
The fucking conspiracy theories are all over the place. One of them says that the coronavirus is all about trying to install Tui's old into pubs again,
Yeah.
which is bullshit because we all know it's Tui's new.
Yeah.
You wish people would read the fucking labels. And you also hear that the coronavirus is to stop lemon growers being profitable, which
Yeah.
is reasonable, but it goes against the TUI's. Look, I say that as a piss take, but
Yes.
the conspiracies are no less fucking grounded in truth, is what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah.
the reason I'm not listing them off is there's so many. There are so many. And, as soon as people get scared, they try and make a story out of what they're looking at. They try and make a contextual story, which is why when you get multi party wars, people freak out. They like a good guy and a bad guy. And, this is why Second World War was perfect for everyone. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Good words, Adrian.
Good word.
Yeah, isolate that fucking audio, you goose. Okay, Second World War was an ideal mental, a concept of a war, because you had a good guy and a bad guy, and the good guys did all kinds of things to beat the bad guy, and that happened. In Vietnam, you had the obvious good bad guy. Then you had the good guy who was corrupt as fuck, and that fractured into factions. And you didn't know where the enemy was, or where he was coming from, or what he looked like. And so, how can you win when there's a gun at your front and knives at your back? And that happened in Iraq, and it happened in Afghanistan. So effectively, you've got this same thing going on. Oh, it's a conspiracy. No, guys, it's not a conspiracy. It's a disease. I can even tell you how the fucking thing came about. It's basically because a lot of these diseases come out of China. Why? It's because they put geese and chickens and pigs into stalls next to one another and next to the family house. Happens all the time. And you get the bird disease swapping over into the pigs,
Yeah.
mutating back into the birds, back into the pigs, and then into the humans. Once it's in the humans, doesn't matter. It's not a disease that they can't deal with. But 1 in 1,000 is a novel N1H1 disease, and will fuck you up royally. And how it fucks you up is a function of how novel the disease mutation is.
Yeah.
That's the simplest way I can put it. That's a lot of the reason why they come out of China. Yes, they say it's coming out of bats. Well, it's not a big deal because pigs will eat anything, and if a bat drops out of the sky, trust me, they'll chomp it down. Except for teeth, which doesn't matter because you've smashed me to bits anyway, says Bricktop. And that's all I've got to say on the matter of conspiracies about. No, it's not. I've got so much to say.
We've got so much to say on conspiracies. You know, actually, here's another one. I don't know news of the day, if you've seen this one. General Motors is retiring the Holden brand. There will be no such thing as a Holden. For a while, they've just been rebadged other cars. But yeah, there's a pretty good achievement in 10 years of government for these fantastic economic managers of the Liberal National Party to completely destroy the vehicle manufacturing industry in Australia. Now, a lot of people are going to get sentimental about the complete disappearance of the Holden brand, and they're saying now that 600 people will lose their jobs. But it was far worse when a couple of years ago the manufacturing plant was shut down, when the government literally dared them to. They're saying, they're going like, well, Australia's an uncompetitive market for us. There's significant value to the economy if we're manufacturing here. We do want to continue with these subsidies. And the Libs went, no, subsidies bad. Stop subsidies. And they said, we can't keep going without them because we lose money in this market. And Joe Hockey literally said, I dare you to leave. And they went, cool bananas, bro. You are such a shithead. And they pulled the pin. We lost Toyota. We lost Holden and
Ford.
I think there might still be. Now, we do have an interesting point being made in the chat that saying Australia shouldn't have a car industry. That's something that I think is worth discussing, because the thing is, if we lose this manufacturing expertise, we are 100% reliant on imports. And if something goes south globally, which, is only about a 99% chance happening in the next decade, then we can't import vehicles anymore, and we have no local knowledge base for manufacturing. It's big push-pull. If you completely protect an industry, it becomes inefficient and bloated and possibly counterproductive. I mean, AD and I both grew up in the era where dairy farmers were subsidized so much. They just had a guaranteed paycheck no matter what, and they were pouring milk down the drains and all this shit. And the pendulum's
and the wool mountain was getting ridiculous.
Yes. Wool growers were guaranteed all their wool would be bought, and the government would buy it, and then no one internationally was buying it, so there was this ridiculous stockpile of it. So there needs to be some sort of tension between, you have to be at least mildly competitive, and there is an economic imperative that we maintain this agriculture base or this manufacturing base. And you have...
So there was basically the argument that, we're subsidizing these industries to the tune of $3 to $1. Okay, that was the argument. And it was unassailable. That was a good argument. However, the numbers clearly showed that for every dollar in, we were getting $37 out. And the 1 to 3 argument took no account of the export. None. Which is a bit fucking rich because of the Libnats saying that, we should give the man on the land a hand because his exports, bring so much money in. And it's like, well, it was the same fucking case except more for our exported cars. Here's another problem. If you don't have a viable car industry, your aerospace industry, your ability to manufacture aircraft is gone. Is just gone. There is no possible way you can make your own planes. Now, think about the world as a fracturing place. Like, don't imagine that there's going to be one world government. Fuck that off. The world is fracturing harder and faster than you can imagine. The better communications we have, the faster the world breaks up. Dichotomy, no. And essentially, you're getting intra fighting within tribes, and so our used to be thinking, which was national infrastructure, is being taken over regionally by the people who are there. Big fucking problem. So in a place like Australia, if we need planes, and fuck me, how big is Australia? We need planes. And if we need vehicles, how big is Australia? We need vehicles.
Yes.
We're not going to have them. It's going to be fucked. By the way, if we close down our two pocket, and they're called pocket refineries because they give you they make specialist gases like hospital oxygen, like specialist gas chemicals, like medicine gases,
Yes.
and like medical plastics. Yeah, stuff like
Yep.
that, specialist stuff. If those pocket fucking refineries are shut down, we are screwed for basic products such as medicine and such as medical implants. And that's just the tiny bit. I'm just putting that in as something that you can relate to. There's been so much damage done on an infrastructural level by the Libnats over the last 10 years. That it's frightening. They say they're the big fucking agricultural leaders. There was a eradicate the flies program. Okay, it was going to go for 12 years. CSIRO was well on its way to making this work. 10 years in, there was so little flies left. Angry and I will be able to tell you about it. All the flies had basically gone. It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. Fucking John Howard turns up and says, "Oh, well, the flies are gone now. We don't need to fund the rest of the 2 years program."
Yeah.
And everyone who knew anything has slapped their fucking forehead and gone, "No, it's not finished. We need to finish it off." He's going, "No, I'm going to cut it now." Oh, and guess what, guys? The flies are back. I know, right? And they're back just as bad as they were.
Yeah.
And the mail has it that they're going to come back even badder because they've overcome the initial genetic impairment that they were given. It's just the same story over and over again.
It's one of the most thankless jobs you can have is to be working on something that's preventative or security related, because you're working on it to prevent something and the thing doesn't happen. And so the person funding it goes, "Well, we don't need to spend any more money on it because it's not happening." And you go,
"Not real.
No. It's only not happening because of the work." And they went, no, that doesn't sound right. I think we'll just stop funding it.
One of the things that makes me very, very, very angry is I hear people telling me, "Oh, the Y2K bug was a beat up."
Yes.
Was a fucking beat up. And I go, "Righto, you motherfuckers. The reason it didn't hurt you was people my age went from Australia too, went around the fucking world looking at choke points and putting in very delicate patches. And all these systems had different programmings in different fucking languages. It was a shit fight all round. Sometimes they had to put them in in fucking factory infrastructure. Sometimes they had to put them in communications infrastructure. It was just a shit fight. And they went all around the world looking for the things that would be most badly affected.
Yes.
People were saying, oh, planes won't drop out of the sky. True, planes wouldn't drop out of the sky, but they'd have nowhere to fucking land, which
Yes.
might have been difficult, and they'd have no way to get fuel in.
Yeah.
And essentially and effectively, come in, sit down, relax, chill. It's good. Boss of the house has just brought people in,
Nice.
and we're not going to see them, right?
That's okay.
But they're going to be murmuring basically in the background.
Murmuring.
They're
I
going to
like
be murmuring, and effectively, what it's going to be is I'm trying to prove I've got friends. I don't,
That's
but I'm
fair.
trying to prove that I've got friends. I'll be flatulating just a little bit, but you can't hear that on Canberra,
That's what you think.
which annoys me until I take my headphones off and throw them down between my legs, which Angry's told me I must never, ever do again, or he's going to hit me with the other stick. So effectively what happened was all these, mostly Australians, ran around the world fixing the Y2K bug for fucking shit pay. And saved the world. And then the world went, oh, didn't fucking break, so it was fine. It was a beat up. And then I hear fuckers say, oh, SARS was a beat up. Same thing. CDC, fucking worked so hard to make it stop. And I'd fucking tell you what, if this Hunan fucking corona doesn't break out and get real bad, everyone's going to say, oh, it was a beat up. The thing that really scares me and shits me is I hear people of a certain age go, oh, AIDS is cured now. You don't have to worry about it.
Yes. No, we have some good prophylactic treatments and some good life-extending treatments, but rates of infection, particularly among heterosexual men, are going up, not down.
Up.
And there are apparently 2 cases where they think they've completely gotten rid of AIDS from someone's system, but they don't really know how they did it, and they can't do it again.
The thing that go.
All right, okay. Well, actually, I'm going to skew so, but I am going to say one thing about Y2K, because I actually worked on a Y2K program, spent a year on it, and I'm going to add a little modifier to what you said. The Y2K work in industrialized, computerized nations was absolutely necessary. Any system that relied on any billing system, tell companies they're not going to be able to accurately bill people, and they'll soon sit up and take notice. And any system that needed to measure stuff based on passage of time needed to be fixed. For instance, some people working in an oil refinery discovered the safety systems measured over a period of time, and when they ran a test and clocked over to Y2K, it confused the shit out of it, and the safety measuring systems simply stopped working, and that was not a good thing. And a good case study for what would have happened in Italy, virtually no Y2K work was done, but also there's not that much computerization in Italy. And what it showed is every billing system, every banking system went tits up, and it took a couple of months to fix. So if we hadn't have done that in really, you would have had absolute chaos in all manner of retail and industry and banking for fuck knows how long. But I am going to put a little caveat at the end, and I saw this happening towards the end of the Y2K work. Creepy consultant companies, they smelled a cash cow, and they did start scamming. They went on with some ridiculous bullshit, told people, oh, you've got a Y2K proof for your escalator, and embedded system. And it did turn into a scam, and a lot of companies basically went multiple times over their IT budget, and after the fact, it kind of started to sink in, these consultants fucked us over, and it was real hard to get an IT job for about 2 years after Y2K. I lived through that. So there was a scam element, but the work was absolutely 100% necessary.
It was absolutely 100. Sorry, go on.
No, I'm just going to say, I'm also going to go off from there because I was looking up what's today. We are recording this on 18th of February. Do you know 18th of February is known as National Drink Wine Day? Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Neither did I.
Not know that.
I'm going to make a drink.
It surprises me that every time we have a podcast, that the date that we do the podcast on is an International Drink Something Day.
There's lots of
there are lots of drinking days. They coincide with Catholic feast days.
Like a drink.
I basically said to a nun once, a feast day is basically around a saint, isn't it?
Mm.
And she said, "Oh, yes, it's the celebration of the saint's good works." And I said, "Well, how do we know which is which? You know, is their birthday?" And she said, "No, dear, it's their martyr day." And I'm going, "How many got martyred?" And she said, "Oh, well over 90%. And I'm going, so being saint, not cool job prospect. So I was thinking I'm going to be a homosexual fucker, you know, and become a fallen
much less
angel.
chance of, although you're saying there was a big risk if you're doing saintly things, you're going to die for it. And you know from personal experience, there's a certain risk of you're going to die if the wrong person takes umbrage at your sexual proclivities. But,
oh, fuck yes. And they took umbrage on me.
I know.
If you shave my head for real, you'll see funny little lines on it.
Yeah.
If you see my back, there's still funny little lines there. And my beard neatly covers. Well, actually, what's really nice is a couple of the scars are actually in wrinkles. You really just can't see them anymore. It's fucking, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
And my nose, even though it's not quite straight, no big deal. You can't really see that it's bent. And I'm going to give you a profile here. Right?
Yeah.
Looks like an aquiline Roman nose.
Yeah.
Can't help thinking about the Monty Python line. I'm not a Roman. I'm a Jew. I'm a crook nose, a Yed, a kike, a Red Sea pedestrian. That's my favourite line for Jews.
Is a Red line. Can you imagine
Red Sea pedestrian.
Those guys? They're sitting there going like, okay, Brian's got to say all the epithets that he can think of for being Jewish, and they'd be shouting them at each other, and they would have come up with Hebe and kike. And probably laughed a bit when someone said hook nose. But when someone yelled out Red Sea pedestrian, they just fell over laughing.
One of the things that they did was they come up with a few, and they were just trying to remember, and they went, hang on, David's a Jew, and so they rang up because they're in the Bahamas writing this.
Yeah.
And they rang up David and gone, oh, fuck, it's 12 o'clock at night. And Dave picks up and goes, well, what? Hi, it's the guys. Oh, fuck. We're doing this thing. And he says, right, hang on, I'll call you back. Let me get some coffee. Rings him up and says, this is fucking the Bahamas. Yes, call me back now. And so, yes, they call him back, and he says, yes, I'm being Jewish about it. I'm not spending fucking £50 doing a favour for you. And they said, oh, this is our setup. This is what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, oh, well, you haven't used these. And apparently he rattled off like 20 fucking descriptions, epithets. Some of them were derogatory, and some of them were descriptive, and some of them were fucking hilarious. And the Pythons were crying with some of these. And they were then in a double quandary because they had to go for the funny ones and went, the fuck are we going to do? Which ones? Yeah. And they had to vote on which of the ones they were going to use. And they came up with 3. hotly contested, by the way.
I imagine, yeah, there's a spirited conversation, I imagine.
Fucking oath.
Yeah.
And then Red Sea Pedestrian was their unanimous favourite for
Oh, yeah,
the kicker.
of course.
Yeah, I mean that's how the Pythons used to do stuff anyway.
Exactly.
Under half a bottle, except
Yeah.
when. Oh no, I'm gonna stop talking about Python.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
I'm glad you've got back to people with bottles. I'm going to mark World Drink Wine Day by making a drink that actually has 2 fortified wines in it. I was just looking up things because I don't like wine per se, but a few of my mixes are fortified wines. This is a cocktail I've never tried to make before, so I have no idea what it'll taste like. It's called a cabazazo, and the first ingredient we have here, which is not wine. This is 1 ounce of Jameson's whiskey, Irish whiskey. My forebears took that. Now, this is the first of the.
Hang on. What? Before we go any further,
yes,
Jameson's, is that a mix or a malt?
It's an Irish whiskey. So mix and malt, that's Scottish. That's Scotch. That you don't really talk about single malts and blends with Irish whiskey.
All right, I'm just going to walk away from this conversation, ignorant and hurt.
That's okay. Now, this is the first of the fortified wines, vermouth, and this is the special Australian one I got. It's really cool because they've flavoured it with Australian botanicals, which makes it rather unique. So it's about 3/4 of an ounce of that.
I'm not going to interrupt. I'm just going to eat while this is happening. I'm not interrupting. I'm just going to say I'm eating. It's fine. I'll describe what I'm doing as you're describing what you're doing because I'm not hurt at what you said to me before.
Yeah. So this is the other fortified wine that's in it, Lillet. There's a few different, you get white and red, Lillet Blanc, Lillet Rouge. This is a Lillet Blanc. And this is the bit that's going to make this an interesting little beverage. Mezcal. It is the smokier cousin of tequila. And this is the special one that, there's a couple of worms in the bottle as well. I'm not going to consume either of the worms tonight, but I just thought I'd share for, just a bit of colour, let people know that there are worms in this one.
Have you ever eaten a worm?
No, I haven't. I was saving them for you. So
I have eaten a worm. First time I did it was on a bet, and I was shattered. Yeah. Now the thing is, remember that as a kid, I'd eaten witchetty grubs and bogong moths when I was living in Canberra.
Delicacies.
Well, the thing is, these grubs taste like the wood that they're eating. So they're gum tree. Okay. They eat either redwood or snow gum. And my God, they taste good. And when they're roasted, it's like, oh my God. And then when you roast the bogong moths, it's even more, look, it's fabulous. So I had to go at the tequila worm, thinking, it can't be that bad. It might be a bit squishy. No. Crunch, crunch, crunch. And you've got this spiky tequila with this mellow protein. It's because it's obviously the fat in the worm. This mellow protein sweetener. And you're going, I could eat these fucking worms all night. And I've been told by Spanish friends of mine, or Hispanic friends of mine, no, don't do that, because people who've been known to save the worms have gotten through 10, got alcohol poisoning, and fucking died. So eat 1 or 2, stop. But they taste great.
The story goes, if you eat the worm, you see the world through the eyes of the worm, which could mean you start to get tunnel vision and your brain collapses. But
pretty much.
I've made my beverage, and it's a really quite nice rosy color. It's
Look
a
at
lovely
the color of that.
Yeah,
that is so spectral.
Yeah, most of the colors come from the vermouth, which is a red vermouth, vermouth rosso. So yeah, this is, and I'm now going to taste test it. Cabazazo. I don't know. It's kind of tamed the mezcal because I'm surprised I like mezcal because the first time I smelled it, and I'm not a smoker, I was like, that smells like an ashtray, but in a weirdly good way. It is like the smokiest spirit I've ever smelled or consumed. But here we go. Going to try this one because it's National Drink Wine Day, and this has fortified wine in it. So tasting it. Oh wow! I mean, okay. Here's my total lack of surprise that the strongest flavor in that is the mezcal. It's not. It's just this smoke going. It's like you're having a really.
Hang on, wait just a minute. You're saying the mezcal is the thing that not overpowers, that comes through with a big hit.
Yeah, it's not mucking about the mezcal, but the other stuff has tempered it. It's not the only taste. The herby nature of the vermouth is coming through.
Nice.
And I think the Lillet has calmed it down. A lot of people say, because I think this is French, so I suppose it would be Lillet.
French.
It's a French wine-based aperitif. But for some reason, it's because my understanding of French grammar, the white one is known as Lillet Blanc. Yes, with French, if you say a word that ends in a T, you don't pronounce it. You'd say Lillet. But if it's two-pronged and the second part starts with a consonant, you pronounce the previous consonant. So it's Lillet Blanc. And it's the same as when people trying to be smooth about that fucking champagne. I bring it up and it's escaped my name. Moet. People think it's Moet. No, there's two reasons it's Moet. Because no, that's it. You pronounce the consonant if there's a vowel after it. So it would be Lillet Blanc. But the full name of the Moet champagne is Moet and Chandon, Moet et Chandon. And so the A in the end means you pronounce the T. And also, it's someone's name and he was a fucking German. Chandon is French, but Moet was a German. So it's Moet, not Moe.
I think you'll find it's Windsor.
Yeah.
Et Chandon. It's Windsor et Chandon. Yes, I think it's been that way for quite some time.
I do like to shit stir people who like the royal family and they mention the Windsors. I mean, you mean the Schicklgrubers, or whatever their fucking name is. And I know Schicklgrubers, but there's a layer of joke there for people who know who Schicklgruber is. Their real name is Saxe Gothenburg or something ridiculous like that.
Saxe Gothenburg.
But yes, I just call them the Schicklgrubers because if anyone knows who I'm referencing there. And we've got a lot of pictures of the royal family in the lead up to World War II being quite well disposed to Mr. Schicklgruber, quite honestly. They weren't averse to the theories of Mr. Schicklgruber.
No, they weren't. I had an interesting history lesson about modern day European Jewry hatred. Yeah.
Okay.
And I will TLDR it. Basically comes down to the Rothschilds, right?
Oh yeah.
The Rothschilds were the owners of finance from the 19th century right up to now, the 21st century in Europe, and they're based in England. Yeah. Okay, so the story goes they had family representatives all through Europe, and that they would speculate on and use the winnings and losses of wars to spread money around like a big horse race stock exchange. And as they would do this, effectively they would make themselves very rich, and they would make and they would finance the winner. They would finance they'd back the horse that was going to win. So at the Battle of Waterloo, they didn't know if Napoleon was going to get up or if Britain was going to get up, the Allies, and effectively they got a horse back to London faster than the news could hit. So then they moved the money around, and they betrayed France and whoever else they were supposed to be financing, and backed the winner. Okay, bit of a problem. Yes, they could have piped money around Europe. They could have done it. But it was a bit like a Tesla valve in the sense that they really only could pipe money to Britain in any fucking useful time frame, in any fucking useful quantity, right? So it was all going to Mother England, and it was all going real fast. And they had family right around Europe to funnel money to Britain, right?
Yeah.
And essentially that was the family mission: get all the money to London. And fucking all these rumors then start that, the Jews have fucking done this to our country and they're a mob of cunts. And these days the Rothschilds have in their university, in their in their gallery, library gallery in their mansion, which is public, by the way. If you want to go and do research, you just ask them and they'll put you in the special room. Tours go through there all the time, and if you want to just hang in the library, they've got curators all through there that will show you everything. And one of the collections they have is propaganda against the Rothschilds, starting from 1801, going right through to 1998, and they continually update it. And effectively, I saw an interview with one of those guys saying, "Oh yeah, we've done some very bad things. What did we start? Well, we obviously started World War II. Clearly, we started World War One.
Yes.
Don't know how we managed that, but we did that. We were involved in the Twin Towers. Yeah.
They'd have to make a joke of it because it'd be too depressing otherwise. Anyway, I think we'll wind off there for our podcast. I'm going to wind off by saying a Capitazazzo is a good cocktail. I'm enjoying it. It's a more complex than a lot of cocktails. Really grows on you. It's one of those ones that successive sips taste even yummier, possibly because of the amount of alcohol in it. But yeah,
could I sit with you and drink a couple of those? Would that work for us?
Oh, dude, I'm going to start up a cocktail making YouTube channel and podcast where it's nothing but an excuse to make cocktails and drink them. So
should I help you with that?
You absolutely should. Be looking for volunteers in a more broad sense. And I'll leave there. And given as we sign off on that, we recorded this on National Drink Wine Day, February 18th. I want to sign off with Stella in the chat, who has given a perfect quote for National Drink Wine Day from that high point of Australian culture, Kath and Kim, talking about how to pronounce wine. It's Chardonnay, you chunts.
It's Chardonnay. It's Chardonnay, and the proper Chardonnay comes in a silver bladder.
Yeah, because someone said Chardonnay. You don't say that. It's Chardonnay, you chunt. And so I think we can leave it there and thank people for listening in. Wherever you get this, whatever podcast platform you got this on, if you feel so disposed, gave us 5 stars and a nice review, the heavens would smile on you and you would be blessed for all days going forward.
And please subscribe to Angry. He's very sexy. Hit the like button. He's very sexy. And ring the bell because I will come like a devil to your door, bringing the vision that will make you cuddle it when you're asleep. Oh, yeah. True story. So thank you so much for letting me be on your device. I'm not allowed to go into churches, but I am allowed on your device. So thank you to our chatters. You guys rule. I mean, I look at you guys. I can't read everything you say because I'm dyslexic. But I look at you saying stuff and go, "How nice." You know, they could have just said "get fucked," and I'd recognise that. But they say the nicest things.
Yeah.
Angry.
Yeah, so we'll sign off. And yeah, as AZ said, if you want more, you can find me on the various social media platforms just by searching Angry Aussie. But AZ was talking about the like and the bells is all the YouTube stuff. Lots of content there. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you find some more stuff to enjoy. I hope you join us again. We're looking forward to it. But this very moment, we'll sign off and say bye for now.
Cheers. Thank you.
All right, cool. Let's see. Stella's volunteering to be part of the cocktail channel. I thought you lived in Perth or something, Stella. That would just make it difficult. I'm trying to keep track of where everyone is. But
we'd work it out. We'd work it out. Okay, famous. Stella, for next week, you will need to assemble these particular beverages, you know, and then, you know, toward the beginning, she'd go, I've got this and this and this, and I've had to substitute that. And we'll go, good. That'll be a point of difference.
Yes. Never be frightened to improvise is my rule. Just playing with.
Everyone says every time someone says Western Australia and alcohol, I think of that time I was in Sydney and I was eating kangaroo eye fillet. With the fattest Western Australian red and Western Australian. And what they do is they'd sort of almost tabbouleh it without cracking it. So you've got these little tendrils of wheat and you smack it out and then you've got the wheat kernel there and it just splits open. It was awesome. And it had, you know, lots of sugary stuff. But this wine paired with this kangaroo was clearly the way it was supposed to be. And I will never forget that dining experience. Also because we were on MDMA when we had it. And then it was so good that we went back next week without the drugs and had it again. And we said, fuck, it's just as good.
That's when you know it's good.
Just as good. And we went, yeah, okay, we found a restaurant. And so we told as many people as we could. And we buggered off out of there. Don't be a circus performer because as soon as you find a restaurant you love, you've got to go somewhere else. Yeah, man. Good chat.
There you go.
Stella's in Kalgoorlie.
Yeah.
Are you secondary industry or are you chipping the mines, chipping the coal, making it go?
I think Stella has a lot of experience in the mining business there. But that's why I was thinking, I thought it was Western Australia, but I wasn't sure exactly where. So I'm just bringing it up on the map because my geography knowledge is frankly fucking terrible. It's right in the middle of Western Australia. Like, seriously, for anyone anywhere else in the world who doesn't know, okay, Stella's a geologist. Cool. Kalgoorlie is the middle of fucking nowhere. It is like in the middle of Western Australia, and it's just dang. But yes, it's a very serious mining town. So yeah.
Kalgoorlie was the argument I used to use when the whole we're going to tax the mines farce happened. And they said, oh, we're going to go away. And I went, no, you're not, because you mine in Kalgoorlie. Yeah. It's not a lovely weekend place. It's a fucking fly-blown shithole fucking 50-degree desert. Yeah. You're not there because it's lovely. You're there because there's a fuck ton of various different ores that are very expensive. So don't give us this, oh, we're going to go away, because the moment you go away, there's going to be 100 mining companies go, we'll have a shot at the prices of which you declare. So I reckon the government should have gone much, much harder.
Oh, yeah.
And with this fucking TV campaign that they put on, like, oh, the miners are good kids, they should have immediately responded with, well, these good kid miners who are taking this much money supply 7% of the tax. They take fucking 39% of the wealth and they supply 7% of the tax. We think that's fucking out of balance. And how did this woman get so fat? Your money.
I get so fucking angry at her saying, oh, I pay too much tax. And she pulls the, we're going to move away things. Like, okay, just get the fuck out. Your father was a criminal who launched a criminal fucking enterprise to get mining leases that he legally wasn't entitled to. He lied and then used his media contacts to scare the state government into giving him mining leases that he was literally against the law for him to have.
But you know what? Sorry, go on.
Well, I just say, and then she still pulls the, oh, we'll leave. I'm paying too much tax. Okay, get the fuck out now. Get out fucking now. I will fulfill your role and I will pay 98% tax and I'll be fucking fine with that. Instead of, you ripping off tens of billions of dollars, I'll just get tens of millions. And, I'll somehow cope. I'll somehow cope. I will give 98%
help you to cope. If it means that I've got to give you some of my pension for consideration, I'll help you out there. But the other thing is that at any time, the spineless federal government, I'm not talking about Labor, I'm not talking about LNP, I'm talking about the spineless federal government, could turn around and literally take off their mining right. Just shut it down and go, no, you can't mine there anymore. You have 24 hours to get off the property. And you may not take any of the fixtures or fittings with you. If you don't get off the property, we have every right to put soldiers in there to fucking kill you, because they did it before. There is fucking precedent. Fucking talk about the Eureka fucking stockade. There is precedent for having fucking soldiers turn up and say, get out or we'll fucking shoot you. And it's still in Australian law. It's still there. Would the soldiers do it? Well, they'd definitely shoot Gina. But bloody, get the fuck off.
Yeah, absolutely.
And essentially then...
they're gutless.
But then the Australians could turn around and say, hey, BHP, do you want some mine? There's some fucking conditions. Not only will you be paying X amount of tax on this mine that you're getting virtually for free, but you'll be paying X amount of tax on your mine. But you'll be making that money back in fucking 6 months, so give a shit. And then fund schools, fucking health and defence, not a problem. We might even be able to fund science.
Fun.
Fucking, I tell you what. Do you know, I'm triggered. Come
on, you're triggered. Go.
Do you know that there's American fucking physicist student kids who are being taught how to make nuclear bomb material so that there's enough plutonium to make snap batteries for satellites in the decades to come? Because all the nuclear bombs are being taken apart, you get snap batteries out of them for the next 50 years. Great. No, not next 50 years. Sorry, no, because there's a half-life. It's the next 20. It's the next 20 years, right? And they've worked out that the people who know how to do this will be retired and gone, and half of them will be dead. and they've gone, that could be an issue. So they're teaching these young kids how to make nuclear weapons so that they can have enough plutonium to stick on fucking satellites, so that they can do more deep space research. How fucking amazing is that? Well, our car industry is not going to get that. What we're going to get is how to make GM. See, fucking, who didn't know? This is why I was shaking my head. Who didn't know that the Holden brand was just going to fucking disappear under the water without a ripple? It was just going to go. Fuck, the amount of Australian designs that are now going to come out of GM factories that look like shit, and that have had, minor changes put on them. I just can't believe that a Monaro is going to be called some other shit, and it's going to have a fucking automatic shifter on it.
Yeah.
It's just, can you imagine that? Well, you don't have to, because in the next 3 years you're going to see it. And fucking, you're already seeing fucking utes with these fucking jacked up wheels and these fat fucking sides, and there's, you got to climb up on the fuck. How are you supposed to get tools off that? Do you need a fucking stool? And the fucking, a proper Hilux has got fucking aluminium fucking sides that you go whack, 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 get in there, open the toolbox, get stuff out, and then slam it shut. Fucking up goes the tray, and you piss off. Not any of this, I'm fucking space vehicle chunk. It annoys me, makes me angry, triggers me. Up to you, go for it.
Yeah, and as Stella's saying, it's absolutely absurd with Scummo and the other LNP fucking hacks going, I'm so angry at GM dropping the Holden brand. It's like, you literally told them to fuck off.
You.
Yeah,
fuck
exactly.
you. You took the badge off, cunt. No one else took the badge off. You took the badge off. I feel like getting the Holden badge and the GM badge and sticking it up his ass while he's got his fucking Hawaii hat on.
Yeah.
Every fucking photo of him should be in his fucking Hawaiian shirt, bikini, and his fucking Hawaiian fucking hat on. What a cockhead. Mind you, I was very happy at the Australian firefighters who abused the shit out of him when A, he was around, and B, when he turned up. And a lot of women say, no, I'm not going to shake your hand, buddy. I'm not going to shake your hand. And they were being polite, and others were just throwing fucking abuse. And it's like, it went from where the fuck have you been to why don't we have the stuff we asked for that now has had a couple of young blokes killed? How the fuck did you not know that was coming when we told you exactly what was going to happen? And he just ignored them, grunted, and walked away. He came out to a fireground in a suit, in a fucking suit, in a suit. Sorry, I've been triggered. I'm just gonna
this is one that it sounds like you don't know about. The fiery who famously leaned out of the truck window when he saw some media and just went, "Hey, are you blokes from the media? Yeah, tell the Prime Minister to go and get fucked from Nilligan." And everyone thought that was hilarious. And a rumor went around that he got sacked from the volunteer fire service for doing that. But the RFS said, no, that's a false report. He's a bit tired and emotional, and we did take him off the line for a while so he could get a bit of rest. And then in the last week, apparently he went to the media and said, no, I have been fired. They're saying they won't take me back. And unsurprisingly, the RFS said that's not true. So when everyone was like, oh, I stand with such and such, because everyone thought he was hilarious for shouting, tell Scummo to go and get fucked. And I'm glad I got my runs on the board. I went on Twitter and said, I think this sacked fireman story is not going to be absolutely straightforward. And yeah, there's no evidence to support his assertion that he was fired. That actually doesn't mean the bureaucrats aren't lying to protect the government, but there's no evidence. But it also turns out there's another bit of video where he talked to some media, and the only politician he likes is Pauline Hanson, which is kind of hilarious. She's the only one who cares, and it's like, so, dude, you have believed one of the most blatant liars this country has ever produced, and you're upset that the Prime Minister is fucking useless with the fires. Hanson is a straight up climate change denier, a science rejecter. So yeah, you are unfortunately one of the people that she's sucked in with her ridiculous lies. So yeah, but it's still really funny that he leaned out a window and said, "Tell the Prime Minister to go and get fucked." So,
but I mean, the thing is, it's not just. As per fucking usual, I have had whispers.
yeah.
And it's not just fucking at press corps. It's at anyone who is wearing a suit. It's at anyone who is in a high commander's uniform that doesn't look like the high commanders. Basically, have a uniform they must wear even on a fire ground, because the idea is when the men are running around fucking going, all right, I need logistics I don't have. My men haven't eaten for fucking 2 days. We haven't slept. You've got to have someone up in a uniform going, oi, you're unit B21. You haven't slept. You haven't eaten. Here's your food. It's hot. Eat it now. I'm going to watch you. There's your cots. Have a piss. Go to bed. And you've got to have that sense of directed, concrete calm, that sense of somewhere to stand, that sense of solidity. And that's why they wear their uniform on a fire ground, you know. And then you get the other ones who are in the middle of fucking clipboards and sheets, and they're signing things, and they're in conferences with people. And they're the guys who are making shit go. Quartermasters, fucking high range commanders, and the boss commander. You never speak to the boss commander because there's 15 blokes around him all wanting his attention, and he's just got to get round and make it happen. And then he can go around to the boys and go, "G'day, what do you need? Are you right?" There's also been a lot of talk about the boys who are going past in trucks, opening the windows and go, "Tell ScoMo to go fuck himself. He's a cunt." And apparently the uniforms have been going, "No worries," and making a big show of putting a pencil mark on a piece of paper and like a pig pen writing system, and then pointing at it so that the truck knows, yes, everybody's every truck that's yelled at has been recorded. Who knows how many they made up, but it makes them feel like they've been heard. But apparently a lot of them need to be heard.
Oh yeah, they're angry.
And the guys in the fucking uniforms aren't real fucking happy either. They've asked for resources that were fucking budgeted for, paid for, and then the local fucking New South Wales Premier just took it off. The local Labor Victorian Premier put some in, and found out that there was such a deficit that got taken out by the fucking last fucking Liberal fucking state government had one term, and they damaged the economy and infrastructure so much that it's taken years for it to be repaired. And every time anything happens, the Murdoch press kick this guy's ass after these fucking wankers burnt half the state's economy to the ground. It's just stunning how much
Yeah.
they fucked up. Stunning. And
Yeah.
now this Premier has been pushing to get the gear back together, has done stuff like fucking, hey, guys, we need an appeal from you, the peeps. Now, remember, there's already a drought on. Now there's floods. There's bushfires going. I mean, this is very Victoria. Now, because of bushfire, flood, and drought, the native animals are starting to move into farms and outer city backyards, and they're going to start to hop more and more and more into the cities where the food is, because there's fuck all out there. I mean, they'll go back in eventually, but now they're fucking right out, and people are coming out to their front yards out in the subs, like way out in the subs, going, oh, there's 15 kangaroos eating my grass. What do I do? A lot of people say turn on the sprinklers. Hosing is very good. Shit, 3-4 loud snaps going, aye, will usually get them moving. Throw a rock at one of them, usually gets them moving. Ironically,
Except the times it doesn't. Like if you threw a rock and it was one of those big Western Reds, and it just stops and looks at you and goes, "You, come here."
come here,
Or
mate.
just bounds over and goes, "I want a word. I want a word." You.
This rock that I'm standing on, is that your rock? Because that fucking hit me. Did you want that rock stuffed up your balls so they come up out your nose? Because I'm very angry. So yeah, throw a rock if they're little. The other thing you can do, and this is weird, right? So those big eastern greys, which is what you're going to see in east side of Australia, and those big western reds, who they can just have my house.
Yeah,
They
they're the
can
ones
just
who
sit
look like
there.
they're on steroids. They get the
And they
big
get
boss
these
males.
big
They're really
muscles, and
jacked.
they look like they're going, and they always look like, what are you looking at, cunt? Yeah, if they're in your house, watching your TV, they'll go, you're not getting Channel 9 real good, and you're out of beer. Go get 2 cases and some scotch. Go and get that Tooheys New. This Melbourne bitter shit is terrible. And them and funnel web spiders basically get to choose what you do. Anyway, so if things that aren't eastern greys come onto your property, you don't have to shoot them. You just make loud noises. If you're patient enough, they'll eat all your grass anyway. It's a drought. Don't try and maintain a pristine lawn. It's not going to fucking happen. Just let it go. So the kangaroos will eat what's there, which means they'll fucking go to some kind of use, and then they'll move on. But it's the big sign that the Australian bush can no longer sustain the amount of fauna in it, which was a big problem. And also, fucking, you're starting to get a problem of the biggest and the boldest coming out. After that, it's fucking everything else. This is how you get dangerous snakes in your laundry. This is how you get dangerous spiders in your fucking bed sheets. That's a good thing to say, because now everyone's going to go to sleep thinking that everything's going to be creepy crawly on them. Sorry about that.
You've thought into people's heads.
It's fucking fuck. There's just so much that culturally that you can that you can just have you got an easier way to put this? Because I'm having difficulty.
No, well, I'm just gonna leave it actually, and
Fuck it. Who knows what AZ's fucking talking about anyway? Let's just get out of here.
Yeah. So I'm going to say, Bobo's was stuck in a power outage in Maui for most of the thing, and has just come back. You'll have to watch it back, mate. We talked about lots of things.
Mate, go on the log. Bobo, years ago, living in Boo, we were on water restrictions and got a fine from the housing estate we lived in for letting our grass die. What? See, that is exactly the kind of shit that fucking gated communities do. It's fucked. I remember I remember people who got fucking fake grass put in, like fake grass put in their place. Looked great, by the way. And then the Housing Owners Association came through and said, we're not happy about the leaves they've collected, and, you know, we want to see you watering grass once in a while to make sure it doesn't die. And the husband was about to say something, and the wife's grabbed him and gave him the look, and he's gone, okay. And they raked up or vacuumed up at night. And occasionally, while everyone could see, they literally put water on their plastic grass.
Right.
And they do that for like 5-10 minutes and then stop and then get the fuck out of there going, that was a pointless waste of time. They tried to organise it so to go into their actual plants. But, you know, Jesus Christ. So, yeah, there you go. Housing Industry Association, nosy fucks. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go to bed and say good night to everyone.
That's a good thing. You're a much loved man. Please subscribe to Angry. He's very sexy. Ring the bell. Touch the I like. Smash the... What are they supposed to smash?
Smash the like button.
They just smash the like button. And break your keyboard and go to Kmart, where everything is made by Anko, if you want a conspiracy.
Okay, that's a good one. All right, so I'm going to see you fine people later. I probably won't be doing a live stream on Thursday because I'm actually meeting some people in real life on Thursday after work.
Am I supposed to be doing that?
Only if you want to.
I'd like to.
Yeah, well, if you're up to it, come into the city on Thursday.
Okay.
But the rest of you say bye-bye, or be a few videos popping up in the intervening time, and back to some live streams next week. But look after yourself, one and all, and I'll say bye for now. Click the end broadcast.